Hello guys and welcome to a new episode of Leibniz Lecture. Today I'm going to talk about the grid layout in JavaFX, and if you watched my last episode, which was a JavaFX intro, so the first demo that we did together, this might be interesting for you, but also if you're just interested in JavaFX, have fun with this video. Just to mention it once again, these videos are part of my lecture I'm doing at the Higher Technical College in Kaindorf. Good guys, so I have a new program here. I created the structure that we discussed last time. So we have our controller package, we have our poachers package, we have our controller, the application, and we have our main view. Today, we're just talking about the design itself. So we're not going to program anything, but let's talk about the design. We're going to open our design in Scene Builder. And first thing we do is we want to get rid of this whole thing here. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to rebuild what we did last time with maybe some small extensions by using the Grid Pane today. So we're starting with the root element. So last time there was a V box or vertical box. Today it's a Grid Pane. So we're just putting in the Grid Pane. And this might happen to you as well. This is some bug of the scene builder. So just make sure to make the window as small that it's the same size as the control itself, and then it should work properly. In here we have a grid. So this grid has 2 columns and 3 rows. We can just add a new row by clicking any of the elements here on the right hand side and say add row above, add row below, whatever. Then we have a new row in here, or we can also delete rows. The same thing is true for columns. We can add a column before, or we can add a column after, and we can also delete columns. For our use case right now, it's good to have exactly this grid because we want to have a label here and a text field here for the first name. We want to have a label here and a text field here for the age. We want to have a button which spreads the whole column range, and we also want to have a label which spans over the whole column. So I just accidentally created a column here. So 2 columns and 4 rows. So we need an additional row. What we do is we just click here, we say add row above, wherever. So we have our 4 rows right now. And now we can just start by dragging in our controls. So the first control we're going to drag is the label. Then we need another label here. We need a text field here, and we need a text field there. So what you see is text fields are automatically spreading over the whole view, and we will just see how we can change this afterwards. Okay, so the first label, we're just switching to properties, was first name, and the last was the age, or the second one was the age. And I want them to be on the right hand side. Okay, so we have different possibilities to do so. So I'm just clicking it, and now we should find any way to align them on the right hand side. So this is not working by just using these alignments here, because they are for the text alignment only. But what we can do is we can just try to go to the layout, and there we see a lot of things. Okay, and here we see a vertical and the horizontal alignment, and if we say center, it's centered, and if we say right, it's right. Okay, so this is what we do here. So this looks different now because it's inside a grid pane. So the property options change due to what you're using. Good. Once again, I want. Okay, so this is done. We're talking about the margin and padding later. So this is it. I just want to change here the style to be bold, and I want the color to be red. So as we had it in our last exercise, the last time. Okay. First, or next thing I want to do is I want to have the button, and the button should go from left to right. So it should span over 2 columns. And to do this, we have to somehow nest elements. So we want to have one element only. So I'm just going to use a VBox in here. And inside of this VBox, I'm going to place the button. Because what I can do is inside our VBox, I can say that I want the button to be aligned center. So now the button is just in the very center of this, and the name of the button was submit. And now if I go to layout, I have a property that says column span. And if I say 2 here, this VBox spans from left to right. So this is exactly how we want this to look like. We can also span this over different rows. So we can also have a row span of 2, but this is not what the intention is right now. And for the label, we have to do the same thing. So if you already want to practice this, you can pause the video right now and just try to enter a label that spans over both columns down there. How we're going to do it, once again, we use our VBox there. Then we enter, or we add the label to our VBox. There it is. We say that we want to have in our property a center, and additionally in our layout, we say that we want to have a column span of 2. Good. So now we need to align this whole thing, maybe give this just some value as we had it last time. I think it said, hello, Johannes. Oh, there's one L too much. Okay, good. So now this is how it looks like. It looks really ugly. So let's try to refine this a little bit. First thing we need to do for our VBox and for our VBoxes, we want to go to the layout and we want to get rid of the preferred width. So if you want to change both of them, you can just press the Control key, hold it, and then select both of the elements or all of the elements you want to change. And I'm going to use the computed width and the computed height here because this is what makes more sense. Okay, right now nothing changes, but that's the first thing we want to do. Then we go to our grid pane, and also our grid pane has a preferred width and the preferred height. And we're also going to change this. And as soon as we do this, we see that now it looks as we expected it to. Some things could be better. So what we first start with is we want to have a margin, a padding or a margin, in that case, a padding all around. So a padding of 20 all around. So this is what it looks like. And you see it's a padding around our columns and rows. So it's not affecting our columns and rows at all. Now I want to have a little bit of a distance between first name and the age, first name, the text field, and the age and the text field. And this is also possible because when you go to the properties, in the properties of our grid pane, we have a value, and I'm just wondering why it's not here. Let me just find out where it is. There, it's H gap and V gap. And if we say the H gap, so the horizontal gap, to be 10, this means that we have a gap between the elements here. And if we want to have a gap between the virtual elements, we can do it in that way. Okay, this is not what we want to have right now because we want to have a horizontal gap, but only between submit and hello. So we are using the same approach as last time. So we're going to set a margin at the top and the bottom of our button to be, I don't know, maybe 20. And what we see right now is that we have a problem. Because what happened is that the button just stayed at the same position, although we have a margin set there, and now it's even moving into the other elements. And the reason for that is that we cannot style the button as the button is in a VBox. So let's try what happens if we do that for the VBox. So if we're setting a padding for the VBox, we see, not a good idea because the same thing happens there, okay? So we have to set this to 0 again, but instead we can try to select this row only. So we have selected this row with the index of 2. And we can now try to set a value here. So we can say that we want to have a preferred height, for example, of 50. And now what happens is now the whole row is bigger and we see how it looks like. Okay, so let's try if this works. So we're going to save the whole thing. We have here our application, and let's run our application and see what the outcome is. And there it is. So it looks like we wanted to have it. So we have our first name, we have our age, we have a very cool grid. So when entering more of them, it's just very easy. So we're missing a last name. So maybe let's just add a last name, and there is a cool trick to do so. So if you designed one element and you have elements that look the same, you can just copy them. That basically makes sense. So what we want to do is we want to add a row below here, which is that one. And let's see, and we're just going to click the first name label here. We're saying duplicate. Now it's somewhere, and we're just dragging it in here. Now we're doing the same thing for our text field. Okay, I think we don't need to do it for the text field because we didn't change anything about the text field. So just grab the text field and put it in there. The only thing we're missing, so if you still remember, we had to change something here. So we had to somehow have an alignment there, and this can be done here. So we set this to right. We can rename this, for example, to be the last name. And there it is. Okay. So guys, this is the grid pane. This is how you work with the grid pane, and make sure that not all the elements span the whole span over multiple columns, or have the possibility to span over multiple columns, and not all of the elements can be used in there. So if you have elements which are not spanning, or if don't work properly, just nest them inside some VBox or some HBox, and then you will be fine, because with the VBox in the HBox you have all the possibilities there. Good. So guys, this is already the end of this episode about the JavaFX grid layout. If you like this video and also my others, just subscribe my channel, give me a like. There will be much more videos about JavaFX. There will be more videos about databases, about web development, and so on. So just make sure to subscribe my channel and always stay with my news. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. If you have comments, just leave them in the comment section. I'll be happy to read from you, and see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.